for this account and some buttons at the top. And what you'll be doing is either setting up new files or adding to existing files. And so this one, it has a file number, but this is a fake file. But if this were a real file, you could go through and do a search right here under Find a File. And you could type in the file number and look for it. Or in this case, we're going to go here and look for the address. And we'd like you to do a search every time to see if the file's already set up. That way we don't get duplicate files set up in everyone's system. So I'm going to just type the first part of this address of 9308 down here in the all, or part of property address. And nothing came up. If anything was here, it would have come up and you could select it and go directly into the file. So since it isn't here, we're going to just click Create a New File. And we're going to answer this first question of, is anyone in the firm have a direct interest in this transaction? So it will probably always be no.
Okay.
We also want to make sure that this EPIC Plus is selected. We have two different versions of EPIC. We have EPIC Plus and EPIC Lite. So if it's showing, click here to switch to EPIC Lite. That means that we're going to set up the file in EPIC Plus, which is a full-featured file, which is what we want. Now, in this case, as we read through our title order here, I personally like to name my file with part of the person's name. So I'm going to name this file Richmond right here. You can ignore the use 2015 HUD. It'll automatically default to the most recent one, and that's not something that you guys will do. And in everyone's file system, they have their own numbering system pre-done. And so for this Frontier account, 2201 is the next file in order. You can see over here under this Momentum fake file that they have a completely different file number system. So it would show up. That's not something that you need to worry about. Then you can select the type of transaction. In this case, I went through and I found here in the comments section that there is a sales price and a loan amount. So I know that this is going to be a purchase file. I'm hoping that we can change a couple of the names in here so that it will say, instead of order type, full search, it'll say like maybe a purchase or a refinance, so we know what file to set it up. And this was a purchase. I typically will just put in today's date for the closing date and disbursement date. That way I can track how old a file is. I know what day I set it up. And then the office that's doing this can change it as it gets close to the closing. For reconveyance tracking, I'll just go 3 months in the future and set a date, and that will trigger just a note for the owner of the file to look and make sure that any reconveyances have been done. Our purchase comes here from the order, which was $600,000. Our property address comes from here as well, 9308 West. And it was Ironwood Drive. And if you type in the zip code, 85345, it should automatically put in the town and the county, which it didn't, so we can manually type it in. Whoop. And then this little section here, if you know the tax ID number, you can put it in. We do know it, so I'm going to copy it and paste it in. And then we can create the file. It'll be a lot easier for you guys if the company that orders the search already has set up a file, because they can put in a few of these items in here that you won't know what to do. But with the file set up, it's pretty simple to add in what you need to add. So we'll just go through a few of these files. We can track the file, but you probably won't use that. We can change the different HUD to use. You can export this file, which will be a helpful feature in the future if someone's using Qualia, and it may work with other third-party software as well, so you don't have to manually retype everything in. Has my file name, my file number, a purchase, the information that I put in. Settlement office you won't do anything with, but the purchaser or borrower will want to put in. So we'll click on the enter and edit. In this file, we don't know who it's going to be because this is our buyer. So I'm going to click that it's an individual. I'm going to put to be determined and hit close. If there's a second borrower, after you've typed in the first one, you can go down through their contact information, which you guys won't deal with, and you can add another one as an individual or a legal entity. In this case, we don't know, so we'll leave it blank and close it. Our seller's name we do know, and we know it's an individual. So we have that our grantor is Deborah Richmond. And I'm seeing that we're missing a field here. It might be because I have an Arizona property put in a Utah file, but right underneath this suffix, there should be vesting with a vesting box. And this is where you would put the, single woman or married woman for Deborah Richmond. There's a vesting box underneath every individual that's listed or legal entity. And so if you have two or more and the vesting, let's say there's two sellers, let's say Deborah and her husband Ron. So we would click and add Ron's information here. This is where you would put like husband and wife, and our system will automatically do Deborah Richmond. It'll put the and word Ron Richmond as joint tenants you would type in. So that's how you would get it to read correctly if that was the vesting. And click OK. We know that there's a lender from our notes. It's United Wholesale Mortgage. I happen to already have that one in here. If there isn't one in here, you can click the add button and add it. But really, that's probably going to be for the owner of the file to put in. I'll do it just in case. Got a loan amount of $585,230. And a loan number in our notes section here as well. And you do want a loan number to be able to generate a closing protection letter. If there is no loan number provided, I'll just type in 5 X's, and that'll allow us to put in to issue a closing protection letter. Really, that's it for this first screen with our people's information, except for, 2 other boxes. Once your search is done, and you can go in and change how the people are vested on title. So if you don't know, if we just know from our order here that Deborah Richmond is on, and we find out that Ron is actually on title as well, we can go in and add him and check this button that says names match vesting. Also on the address, if you collect the enter here, it gives you a few more items than just the address. It gives you the tax ID number, and you can type in the legal description here. So you can type that in. You shouldn't have to deal with any of these buttons. These do pricing, and it won't affect you for setting up the file or for doing the title search. The owner of the file should do that. And that's it for our first tab here, which is this Gen Info tab. The next tab that you'll be dealing with is the Policy tab, and this is where you'll input all your information for from the search. And I like to just go straight down the list as I'm doing this. So under Commitment Owner Lender, the first box here is where we'll put our effective date, or the date that the county is abstracted through. We'll just say that it was done through September 1st on this one. You can type in the names of the people who we check judgments for. And then this creates a note for if there were any transfers or conveyances within the last 24 months. If there aren't any, type none. If there are some, type in from your search what it is. Sellers acquired the property, last June, no other transfers or conveyances. And we can go down.
Hey,
go ahead.
Joe. Yeah, we
Yes.
do have a question. What if we have a conveyance within last 24 months? What the note should be?
Yep. So I like to type in like Deborah Richmond acquired the property, or add her husband, Ron Richmond, to title on 5/1 of 2020, and then I type no other transfers, conveyances.
Okay.
And leave it as that. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Another common thing that people will do as well is that they will actually put in the entire vesting information like we normally do, so-and-so and so-and-so, for the benefit of Wells Fargo or whatever the case may be. It just really all depends, as long as we have something noted there.
Okay.
So those two things will come in from your search. The rest of this really should be taken care of by the file owner as well. If they're doing the seller side, they can click that they will be issuing an owner's policy, and it'll be a homeowner's policy, let's say. They can choose. And then down here in the loan policy, they can choose the different types of loan policies as well. And if it was lender concurrent with the owner's policy, and that will give us the correct pricing. Those are the only things really on this page that you'll be dealing with, is up here in this top section. And then it shows us our pricing. Under recording information, you won't do anything with it at this point, but when the policy is issued, you'll go in and enter this information. Let me show you a couple of differences. So here under Commitment Owner Lender, it's not notated very well, but the policy date is the actual recording date. So if this is recorded today, you'll put in the, today's recorded date and the time that it was recorded. Oh my goodness, I can't type when 2:00 p.m., let's say. The date on this page, the recording information, which is a little deceptive for this date that it asks for here is the date of the document, not the recorded date. So if this was a refinance and there was a 3-day right of rescission, this date would be put in here from the date of the deed of trust. So it is not the recorded date. And this other info will auto default. So here, this recorded date will come in from your commitment owner lender page, which actually is the recorded date, and you'll put in the entry number booking page. This next section is broken up into 3 different parts. These are your exceptions from the policy, any requirements that are required to issue the policy, and endorsements. So we have a whole bunch of different items listed in here, with generic language, so you don't have to type in everything from scratch. So if you need to put in, the property taxes, you can click on the tax button, highlight over which one reads the way that you would like it to read the best. You can click on it and add the information. So this is the one, at least in Utah, we're using right now. General taxes for the year 2021 are accruing as a lien, but are not yet due. Payable taxes for 2020 have been paid in the amount of $1, tax serial number this. Then you'll want to click all the boxes that are associated with this. And then that'll include it on the title commitment, owner's policy, and loan policy. When it's time to issue the policies, if you're not going to issue one, you can unclick it at that point. But for now, I recommend clicking on all of these. Also, if the wording isn't the way that you would like it to be, that you can't find one, you can click this edit button and it'll allow you to go into the box and change what's in here. So if you find something that's close to what you like but not exactly what you like, you can click the edit button and get exactly what you like.
Hey, Joe.
Yep.
With them having access to the agent SolvePro, I'm not really that versed in SolvePro. I don't even think I've even seen it before. But if the agent has all the exceptions and everything already typed out into SolvePro, they do have the option to copy and paste those directly into the quick type exceptions. Do you want to show them how to do that?
Yes. I will have you share your screen, Phil. If I can figure out how to turn this back. Well, right there. We'll let you show them the quick type. I think what we want them to always do is to always start in EPIC and then go to the borrower's third-party platform. Is that correct, Rudy? He may have stepped away. Okay, go ahead, Phil. Take over.
What is your
a quick type
login for Frontier?
So you can type in NAX and then NAX 2021. And I will hit save and get out of this file because you can only have one person in a file at a time.
Yeah, and it's a pain, but it's a reason for it. Oh, you didn't use the file number. What file number did you use for this one?
If you just scroll to the very bottom, it's the last one on there.
Oh, the last one on your list.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, just trying to make it big enough for everybody to see it here. Okay, and I'm just going to pull up really quickly a list or a policy that I've already generated here that has some exceptions on it, and that's not what I want. This one. All right. Okay, so we have our exceptions here. And since we already have a tax exception in there, I'm just going to copy these out. And then we'll go over to policy, click on the quick type exception, hit create new, and then paste these in here. Now what you have to do is kind of clean this up a bit, just so we remove any of the enters or the returns so that everything is showing as one paragraph for each exception.
That was awesome. I've been working in EPIC for 9 years and didn't know I could do this.
Yeah, this is like the coolest feature that's in EPIC, I think, just because it makes things so much easier, at least whenever you don't have to do this part. All right, there we go. It looks like I have a spelling issue there. There we go. All right, so we're there. And then I'm just going to name this the same as what the file name is, and then we'll click process. Once you do this, you have all of your exceptions individually. Go back and look at them. Here's one that I missed. And I'm just going to stick that in where it should be. Right click on this one, remove the exception, so I don't have that blank one in there. And then everything else looks good to go, and we just close out of this. And if you go in and you actually preview right of access, I want to delete your date here there, Joe.
Okay.
Just for a moment, just so I can preview a commitment. And what did it tell me? Need to fill in the property address. The property address is already completed. Oh. What county was that you'd selected?
You can just click any in there. So the reason this isn't working, everyone, is because I put an Arizona property in a Utah file.
That's all right. Let's see if it will accept it now that I have. Everything is really based off of the county. So if you don't select the county from the list or have it auto-populate, okay, I don't want to preview, not issue one. Here we go. But yeah, if you don't let it auto-populate, select it from the list. Don't type it in because EPIC does not recognize it otherwise. All right, so here's our exception list. So as you can see here, everything that we typed in automatically numbers itself and gets put into the commitment and policy, any policies that are being issued whenever you use the quick type. So if you have them already typed, copying and pasting is a lot easier than going in and actually putting in the, selecting in through here. We do recommend that you always use the tax one and putting that in like Joe showed you, just because the EPIC will kick it out and say there's no exceptions if you don't have at least one in this list. All right, Joe, and I will turn that back over to you.
Okay. Then if you'll hit save and get out of the file, then I can get back in it.
I'm out. You're good to go.
Okay. You notice I just scrolled down to my latest file, and we'll click on it so that it's easy to find. as you're typing stuff in, you can find them that way. Back to this policy tab. A couple more things to note. Some things are labeled the same way. So if you need to type in an exception that you can't find one of, you can click on other. But don't confuse it with this one that has the exact same wording. It's in the requirements section. So if you need to type one in, click on this, click your boxes, and just give it a description. And close. Once you've got your exceptions in, you always need to click this verify right to access the land, or it won't allow you to generate a commitment. You also need to have at least one requirement where this is a purchase. We'll for sure need a warranty deed to the new person. So you've got to have at least one requirement to be able to issue a commitment. And then if you're going to be adding the endorsements, which you probably, I don't know if you will or won't, they're listed in here as well, so you can add them in. And just remember to always click the box to actually add it in. Some of them, like the 2206, require not only clicking the box, but typing in a description. And hit close. Some things that you just noticed as Phil was clicking through the file, when we hit save, you'll see these red kind of warning things will go away if everything is met. We did add a requirement, so we should be okay now. I don't know if you'll be issuing the commitment or if you'll just be sending an email to the owner of the file saying it's ready. Maybe you will. Maybe we'll click on commitment and hit issue new commitment. And then it's available to view. Also, something to note in the system in EPIC, the newest, most recent information will go below. So if you are going to create a second commitment that with some changes on it and you issue it,
Muted.
the most recent one will always be the one at the bottom. And I think that that's it. I think that's all you'll need to know. Do you have questions, thoughts, concerns?
Yes, Joe, we do have a question regarding the endorsements. So is there's any default endorsement that we need to choose?
Is there any what?
A default endorsement, like what you've picked, the Alta 8.1-06.
So it probably is going to be different in every state. With a loan, at least in Utah, there are 3 standard endorsements: the 8.106, the 906, and the 2206 would go with every loan. There are 1 of 2 others that may apply if it's in a condo or a planned unit development. Those are the only standard endorsements that we default, at least in Utah.
The good thing, Joe, is that a lot of this they won't have to worry about making the assumption on, because all of it will be in Soft Pro already on what the agent wants to issue those endorsements for.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question, if there are any. If not, just we'll send you my phone number, Phil's phone number, our email addresses. You can call us anytime, well, in the day, to ask questions or email us, and we're usually really prompt to get back to you. My phone, I almost always am able to answer my phone as well, in case you want to make just a quick phone call and ask.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Now, since we already have this scheduled for the full hour, I will go ahead and take over for the SharePoint end of it, if you're good with that, Joe.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
So I'm just going to,
Mary, are y'all good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Unmuted.
So I'll go ahead and share my screen again here.
hey, Phil, it's Rudy. While you're doing that, I'm going to jump in. I just want to say that in all likelihood, Mary and team, we will probably have another session when we go live, and maybe the first file or two we work together, not on your own. And so whenever we're ready to launch and we'll work our first file, we'll probably reconvene, and in all likelihood, that'll be sometime the week of the 20th. So we'll do this again with live files.
Okay, that would be great.
Great, thank you.
All right. So basically what is going to happen here, whenever an agent needs to have a search done, they're going to complete this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet, they will put in here what the date of the order is going to be, which is probably today's date or the date that they're submitting it. They're going to put in their file number and what the order type is. So they're going to do either a two-owner search for a refi, a full search for purchase, an O&E, foreclosure, litigation, title only. So we're just going to set this one up as a refi. And I'm just going to snag this address again that I was, grab this one here instead, since they are in Arizona. Here we go. All right. So whenever they set this up, they're basically just going to create an email. This email that is going to look like this. This is what you're going to receive. This will have all the information that you'll need in order to set up this file in SharePoint. So I'm going to just move this out of the way so I can see everything here on my screen. And let's just do a split screen. It'll probably be easier. All right. So you'll go into the Agent SharePoint site. You'll click New Search Request. Now, Joe, I did add those that you were talking about earlier, the company login, the state. So these are going to auto-populate for every file. You just jump down here. And what I would do is just copy and enter those values in. The member ID for them, I have that, that we're going to assign them, but I can't remember what it is right off the top of my head. So I'm going to leave this
70-10.
0 for right now.
70-10.
70-10. All right, thank you. I want to make that a default value as well. I just haven't gotten around to doing that one yet. All right, and order request date in SharePoint, it's automatically going to default to the date that you create the order. If it's different than what's on the email, then just make sure to update this address with what's on the email. All right, so their order type, they are doing a two-owner refi. So we'll select that from the option. And probably easiest just to copy this out for your property address. The county is Maricopa. And we don't have the tax ID from this one. So we'll wait until the search comes back in order to put that information in, or if they provide it under special instructions, you can put that in. I made this a priority. Rudy, I'm going to have to change our spreadsheet to request a property tax ID in here as well.
Okay. And if I could interject real quick for Mary's team. So remember what we're doing here is that what you see on your right hand side, which is the email, that comes from the agent, and the agent submits that, and it goes directly to NAX, and it goes directly to several other emails that are copied, and that starts the order process for the title search report. When you get a copy of this, Mary, you guys can certainly go into SharePoint and fill in some of this basic information, but really your activity doesn't start until the title search report comes back. I think in our process flow, we had you go into SharePoint when the title search report comes back. But again, maybe you guys tell me what do you think is a better process flow down the road, is to go ahead and open it in SharePoint right away, or wait until the title search report comes back. So just sort of think about that as we move through this process that we're building together.
Okay, I'm getting your point, Rudy. So when the NAX receive this order request, the VTA will be copied, right?
Yes.
And the VTA will be the one initiating the opening in SharePoint. Is that right?
Right. Correct.
Okay. All right. I think that would be better, just to avoid any bottleneck, if the BTA will start the opening in SharePoint after the search will be received from NAX. Just a point of view, if you're agree on that.
And that's fine. That's exactly how it's built into the process flow right now.
Okay.
All right. Now, in this as well, any comments that the agent puts under special instructions, make sure that that goes in here. And if they have attached anything like the a sales contract or anything of that nature into the file, you can click Add Attachments, and you can add these attachments directly into the list. The search will be added here as well. So whenever the search comes back, Rudy, I just realized something. Right now, our current process is that the SharePoint is built and NAX is sent the link in order to upload the search directly.
Okay, so let's think through that. So what does that mean? So the agent sends the order with your template, and when the title search report is done, there's a link in the email template, which I refer to as template. We know it's this little Excel spreadsheet. And then NAX finishes the title search report. They click on the link, and the link is then uploaded into the SharePoint file automatically.
Right, and that link, of course, has to be created prior to the search being completed in order for them to do that. Because otherwise, they would have to, NAX would have to create the SharePoint list item and put all this information in.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. So what you're saying is that the link is created by entering the initial SharePoint information.
Right.
Uh-oh. All right, so that's a problem. I didn't realize that. I thought that it was just...
Yeah, that just dawned on me.
What's that?
I said that just dawned on me that, okay. Our process right now is that KSS is creating that folder in LDD SharePoint site. And so if we want to kind of keep that same process, I mean, otherwise, all we need to do is just make sure NAX knows that whenever it comes this way, that they are not going to get that link to upload the search and just to send the search directly to the VTA.
Okay, that's what I was just going to suggest. So would it be simple if we continue to follow this process and we tell NAX when a title search report is done, they should respond directly to this email with all the attachments?
Yeah, and then that way...
There you go. And then when the VTA gets it and they set up the file in SharePoint, They then will be responsible for adding all of the search attachments.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that works. We'll document that, but I think that makes sense.
Okay. All right, so back to where we were. Attachments, you'll have to add the attachments here. If you're used to using Outlook, you know that Outlook is, whenever the attachments are there, you can't upload anything into a website from that way. So you'll actually need to pull those files into a folder and then upload the files from the folder into SharePoint. The good thing is that you can save all the files at the exact same time in Outlook, and you can go in and highlight all the files that you want to upload from that folder and just click open it. And once you save, all these attachments will go directly in. And I'm just going to put in a just a policy here, just so you can see. So you'll see the attachment shows right here. And then whenever you click save, it takes a little bit there to upload, but here we have the new item that comes up. And if you click here, you can validate all of the information that you put in as saved, as well as your attachments. It's really fairly simple. Comments cannot be edited. So once you put a comment in, it is on this file permanently. So I'll give you an example here. We'll put in test. And once you step off of it, it's saved. So you cannot go back in here and edit anything. You can go in and add another comment, but you can't edit it. So just be mindful that whenever you're putting anything in the comments, that it's permanent.
And remember, our agents will have access to the SharePoint and they'll see those comments.
Yeah, so very professional.
Okay.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
So I'll make some updates to the process flow, and then we've got to make sure and re-communicate with NAX so they're on top of it as well on the title search side.
Yeah.
And again, Mary, in all likelihood, together on a couple files, you know, so don't throw you out to the wolves, because as you can tell, we're building some of this on the fly as well.
I'm sorry, Rudy. What was that?
I said,
You're cutting up.
yeah, I said, please remember, we will do our best when we start to work several of these files together. As you can tell, we're making some of these changes on the fly as we're learning as well. So, you know, we don't expect you to completely do this on your own from day one. We're going to make sure that you have all the support that you need.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Hey, Phil, in the future, are we going to, when we have the 2 for the original email, are we going to add the ATGF email address of the BTA, or are we just going to put it into the Title Plus mailbox? Phil?
And here I am having an entire conversation on mute. Oh, I said that was actually one of the questions I was waiting for you to get back from the conference to ask you, was whether or not we wanted to just go to the title box, or do we want all it to CC all of the new ATGF emails for the VAS?
Mary, how do you feel about that? Do you want us to just put this new order in the Title Plus group email, or do you want us to also email individuals?
I prefer email individually,
Okay.
Rudy. Yeah.
Okay. Can definitely do that.
Yeah, especially since we can't figure out why Title Plus doesn't work.
Right. All right, and let's see here. Where's that email from you? All right, here we go.
Boy, you get a lot of emails from me, Phil.
Yes, I do. I'm like your most favorite person in the world, I think.
Uh, I don't know. Do you want to keep the AZ reviews for this one, Phil? Should it be in there?
We were going to actually get rid of that, weren't we?
Yeah.
From here, so I can just overwrite that, which makes it a little bit easier. Okay, and all right, there we go. All right, so I think we're good to go on this spreadsheet, Rudy.
Okay. Quick question for you on a tangent. I just got an email that Sonoran Desert is looking for a search report from NAX. Ever since Karen left, I don't know who to reach out to at NAX. Are you just sending orders at Nationwide Abstracts? Is that the email that you guys are using to get?
Yeah, and let me see who else we were using. Go ahead, Mary.
Since Karen left the NAX, so we have the client services email.
Is that the one?
Client services, yeah, client services at nationwideabstracts.com. So any concerns or following up regarding the turnaround time or issues regarding the title search that completed by NAX, you can directly send the email to client services
Okay.
at nationwideabstracts.com. But the orders will be automatically still go to orders at nationwideabstracts.com.
Okay. Lisa, I just sent you that email. If you could please forward that on to NAX and be the point person, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. Okay, again, we will definitely come back, regroup, go through this once or twice. Any questions right now on your side, Mary?
I think we're good. Rudy?